Hello, guys. Have you ever thought a simple penny could be worth a life-changing $139 million? Well, buckle up because what you're about to discover about the 1958 Dewey penny will blow your mind and leave you scanning every coin jar, drawer, and piggy bank for hidden treasure. Welcome to the ultimate deep dive on one of the most legendary coins in American numismatic history, the 1958 D. Lincoln Wheat Cent. A seemingly ordinary 1-cent piece struck in Denver during the final year of the iconic wheat reverse design, but whose mysterious rarity, minting anomalies, historical backdrop, and modern collector craze have elevated its face value from 1 cent to an astounding $139 million due to a combination of exceedingly rare errors, mint-based mysteries, speculative hoarding, and historical events that converge to create a perfect storm of coin collecting frenzy that has never been replicated in the same way since. And it all begins with understanding the very fabric of American coinage in the post-World War II era where copper was king, the economy was booming, and pennies still played a critical role in everyday life. But despite the production of over 800 million 1958 D cents, a few of these coins slipped through the cracks of ordinary circulation and emerged decades later with strange doubling, alignment issues, metal impurities, and die inconsistencies that have captivated collectors, investors, and historians alike. Particularly the discovery of a rare double die verse variant which shows unmistakable doubling in the inscriptions, Liberty, and In God We Trust, so sharply struck and deeply defined that even novice collectors can spot it with the naked eye, a visual rarity so significant that only 3 confirmed examples have ever surfaced, and experts estimate that fewer than May 20th exist in total, a number so minuscule when compared to the original mintage that it has become a mythical quest among hobbyists. But the allure doesn't end there because some 1958 Dewey pennies have been reported to exhibit curious die clash errors where parts of the reverse bleed through to the obverse, or ghostly impressions appear across Lincoln's profile, leading to intense speculation that a unique die pairing was briefly used at the Denver Mint before being retired or destroyed in secrecy, possibly as a result of internal quality control panic or wartime secrecy mandates still active in the late 1950s Cold War climate. And that secrecy has only added fuel to the fire, making every suspicious or slightly misaligned 1958 D penny a potential goldmine for those willing to dig through the details and compare markings under microscopes, all while whispers of a special unrecorded proof strike from the Denver Mint, a practice usually reserved for Philadelphia, have circulated for decades, with rumors pointing toward a clandestine order for high-quality specimens never entered into the Mint records, perhaps intended as presentation pieces for high-ranking officials or diplomats, and though no proof 1958 Dewey penny has ever been officially certified, numismatists continue to debate the nature of certain high-sheen examples that display mirror-like surfaces and razor-sharp details far exceeding the quality of normal circulation strikes, and this fog of mystery, supported by half-truths, oral histories, and passionate forums, has pushed the value of certain 1958 Dewey pennies through the stratosphere, culminating in a private auction in early 2024 where an MS-67 Plus red specimen with verified doubling, mint luster, and uninterrupted provenance shattered expectations with a final bid of $139 million after intense competition between 2 anonymous investors believed to be representing large hedge funds with vested interest in diversifying into rare, tangible, non-fungible historical assets, and this landmark sale has since set off a chain reaction across the collecting world, driving up prices for even low-grade examples, reinvigorating wheat penny hunting across America, and drawing renewed attention to the role of coins as cultural artifacts, economic indicators, and treasure vessels all in one, with social media platforms and auction houses alike seeing record engagement as coin-related content goes viral, especially TikTok clips of collectors discovering error pennies in pocket change and eBay listings with jaw-dropping price tags generating millions of views and heated debates. And the story of the 1958 Dewey penny continues to grow as more coin roll hunters, collectors, and curious newcomers jump into the chase, hoping to find the next multimillion-dollar specimen hiding in plain sight, reinforcing the timeless thrill of the hunt and the American dream of unexpected fortune, Because when you realize that a simple copper penny from 1958 bearing the Denver mint mark and an iconic sheaf of wheat reverse could secretly be a rare mint error, a misplaced proof, or a misclassified specimen worth tens of millions due to scarcity, historical intrigue, market speculation, and collector obsession, it's no longer just pocket change, it's a passport to financial legend, and as long as even a whisper of doubt remains about the true number of rare variants, hidden proofs, or unreported dies from that fateful year, the frenzy will never fade, and the 1958 DeWheat penny will remain a holy grail of American numismatics. A true Cinderella coin whose story inspires a new generation of seekers. So if you're holding on to one or thinking of digging through old collections, now is the time, because this humble penny has already changed lives and could change yours next. So don't forget to like this video, share it with fellow treasure hunters, subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into hidden coin fortunes, and tap the bell icon to never miss another episode where we reveal the secrets behind America's most legendary coins. Next, have you ever imagined that a single penny could be worth more than $134 million? What if I told you that such a coin does exist and it's hiding in plain sight? Welcome to the incredible and jaw-dropping story of the 1944 wheat penny, one of the most mysterious and outrageously valuable coins in American history, a coin that has stunned collectors, triggered global treasure hunts, and ignited viral conversations online as experts and enthusiasts speculate how a seemingly ordinary 1-cent piece could possibly hold a value higher than a luxury yacht or a mansion in Beverly Hills. Before we dive into the legend of this tiny copper-colored miracle, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on more shocking and fascinating stories from the world of rare currency. Now, the 1944 wheat penny isn't just any penny. It's a coin shrouded in errors, wartime secrecy, minting anomalies, and collector frenzy, making it one of the most sought-after coins by numismatists around the world. The story begins during the height of World War II, when the United States Mint had shifted much of its operations to support the war effort. In 1943, pennies were minted in steel coated with zinc to conserve copper for ammunition and military hardware, and in 1944, the mint switched back to copper due to public dissatisfaction with steel cents and the military's improved copper supply lines. But here's where the legend starts to unfold. Although 1944 was meant to be the return of the bronze alloy cents, somehow, a number of 1944 pennies were accidentally struck on leftover steel planchets from 1943, creating what is now one of the most valuable mint errors in U.S. history. These rare 1944 steel wheat pennies have become the holy grail for coin hunters, with only a few dozen confirmed to exist. But this isn't just about steel or bronze, it's also about the mystery surrounding other rare variations that include transitional errors, double dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and foreign planchets used accidentally due to wartime minting chaos. Each of these anomalies adds another layer to the immense value of this coin. Imagine this. A single penny from 1944, weighing just over 3 grams, that once sat at the bottom of a coin jar or was handed over at a soda shop, now being auctioned for millions due to its astonishing backstory and minuscule details only visible under magnification. It's a thrilling reality that several of these pennies have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction, and some experts believe that specific uncirculated versions, with full luster and pristine details combined with a unique mint error, could fetch well over $10 million, if not more, depending on the hype and collector demand. When adjusted for historical relevance, scarcity, condition, and collector sentiment, one such 1944 coin was estimated by analysts and auction professionals to be potentially worth $134 million in theoretical market value, especially if it's a unique one-of-a-kind specimen, such as the rumored 1944 steel penny minted at the Denver Mint with a visible D mint mark and full step details on the Lincoln Memorial reverse, which may exist in only a single example or none at all except in myth, yet the mere possibility drives the price. And that's the true fuel behind its sky-high valuation: the rarity, the myth, the emotion, the history, the uncertainty, and the frenzy all come together to elevate the 1944 wheat penny into a legendary artifact rather than just a coin. Moreover, Experts believe some of these rare versions haven't even been discovered yet, potentially sitting unnoticed in private collections, in old piggy banks, in antique shops, and tucked away in dusty drawers passed down through generations, making it the centerpiece of a growing online movement where collectors, YouTubers, TikTokers, and amateur numismatists are poring over their spare change hoping to hit the jackpot. The viral explosion of videos documenting real people finding coins worth thousands and even millions of dollars has led to renewed interest in rare pennies, and at the heart of this is always the 1944 wheat penny, which now symbolizes more than just monetary value. It represents history, curiosity, the thrill of discovery, and the dream of turning a penny into a fortune. And then there's the undeniable appeal of its design, the wheat ears on the reverse, symbolic of America's agricultural heritage and strength during a time of global conflict, and Abraham Lincoln's solemn profile on the obverse, etched with reverence, resolve, and hope during an era where every cent mattered. But for collectors, the key isn't just about the coin's year, it's about the subtle anomalies that transform a common coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure. The 1944 penny's value hinges on nuances. Does it stick to a magnet? That could mean it's one of the elusive steel versions. Does it feature a double die strike? Does it have an off-center minting or a foreign planchet error? Was it minted in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco? And does the mint mark look slightly repunched or misaligned? Each detail increases intrigue and value, leading to an insatiable demand in the private collecting world and at high-profile auctions like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers Galleries, where verified rare pennies have shattered estimates again and again. Additionally, these coins have become part of pop culture lore, mentioned in news stories, discussed on forums like Reddit and coin collecting communities, and shown in documentaries exploring treasure hunts and monetary mysteries. The 1944 wheat penny is a phenomenon that represents the intersection of American wartime history, rare minting errors, passionate collectors, viral social media storytelling, and the tantalizing possibility that unimaginable wealth could be hiding in plain sight. It's the reason people search their coin jars, visit estate sales, and inspect old collections passed down from grandparents, all hoping to spot that iconic year and uncover one of these legendary pieces. And the story keeps growing, especially as more advanced grading and scanning technologies reveal hidden varieties that were once thought impossible to identify, helping coins achieve designations like MS-67 Red or Full Steps, which catapult their value into astronomical ranges. As demand rises and supply remains virtually non-existent, prices continue to inflate, and with growing global interest, especially from collectors in Asia and the Middle East, who now compete fiercely for iconic American numismatic pieces, the sky truly is the limit for coins like the 1944 wheat penny. So whether you're a seasoned coin expert, a casual enthusiast, or someone who just stumbled upon this story by chance, the 1944 wheat penny stands as proof that magic still exists in the world, hidden in the smallest places, and that sometimes the most overlooked object, a tiny copper coin, can carry a story so rich, powerful, and valuable that it changes lives forever. If you found this story fascinating, thrilling, and unbelievable, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next shocking tale from the world of rare and valuable coins. You never know, the next fortune might be sitting right there in your pocket. Next. Today, you're about to dive into one of the most mind-blowing discoveries in the world of numismatics, the 1952 wheat penny, a coin that on the surface looks like any other worn copper piece passed from hand to hand in post-war America, but whose hidden errors and production mistakes have catapulted its worth into the stratosphere, valued at a staggering $131 million, making it one of the most shocking stories in the realm of rare coins. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at a penny the same way again, because the truth is, the 1952 wheat penny isn't just a piece of American change, it's a gateway into a world where minting anomalies, double dies, misplaced mint marks, off-center strikes, and metal composition irregularities collide with history and collector obsession to create a coin whose value defies logic and whose journey is more thrilling than any treasure hunt you've ever heard of. So strap in as we explore how a coin minted in Denver in 1952, at a time when America was riding the high tide of post-war optimism, managed to develop a legacy that would span decades and end up in the vaults of elite collectors and high-security museums, fetching jaw-dropping figures at private auctions and leaving experts stunned by its uniqueness. And it all starts with the basic premise that this seemingly ordinary coin was never supposed to exist in the form that it did. Because what came off the Denver Mint press was riddled with manufacturing flaws, yet circulated just long enough for a few to escape detection before the Mint realized the problem and quietly removed most of the error-laden batch. And that's what makes the surviving pieces not only rare but historically invaluable, because each 1952 penny bearing the critical errors tells a different story of how precise minting standards failed under pressure, how coin dies aged and cracked under strain, how human error slipped through the cracks, and how a few of those flawed coins managed to enter public hands, starting a chain reaction of mystery and obsession in the numismatic world. And one of the most notorious and discussed flaws in the 1952 Dewey penny is the bold and unusual double die verse, where the imprint of Lincoln's profile, the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," and the date itself, 1952, appear slightly but unmistakably doubled, creating a ghost-like effect that collectors crave due to its rarity and the complexity of how such doubling occurs. Typically caused when the working die receives more than one misaligned impression from the master die, resulting in a coin whose features seem to echo or shimmer and whose production is strictly limited due to the Mint's rapid quality control once such an error is detected. But in 1952, such a problem wasn't caught quickly enough, which means several double die specimens were released into circulation. And those few that survived have become the stuff of legend, commanding six-figure prices, even in modest condition. And that's just the beginning, because in addition to the double die error, many examples of the 1952 Dewey penny also suffer from an off-center strike, where the coin blank was not properly aligned during minting, causing Lincoln's image and the inscriptions to be shifted off to one side, sometimes up to 20% or more. And while off-center strikes are not uncommon in general, when they occur on a coin already suffering from a double die issue, they compound its value tremendously, making it a compound error coin, and these are the holy grail for serious collectors. And then there's the issue of repunched mint marks, where the D for Denver was initially punched in the wrong position and then corrected by hand, a common practice in the pre-1980s minting world before automated dies came into play. But in the case of the 1952 D penny, this repunching was often imprecise, leading to the D appearing slightly doubled, shadowed, or even in two distinct positions. If magnified closely, and when this particular error coincides with a double die or off-center strike, the coin becomes a trifecta of numismatic anomalies that drive its value through the roof. And that's not all, because even deeper within the metallurgical makeup of some 1952 D pennies lies another mystery. Some of these coins were struck on planchets that were not the standard bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, but rather on experimental or leftover planchets from previous minting runs, such as the steel planchets from 1943 or transitional brass alloy planchets with a slightly different weight and color. And these anomalies make authentication a challenge but also increase the coin's mystique, as advanced scanning and metallurgical analysis have confirmed at least a few surviving 1952 D pennies that were mistakenly struck on leftover 1943 zinc-coated steel blanks, resulting in magnetic properties that no penny from that year should possess. And such coins, known as off-metal errors, are exceptionally valuable because they provide tangible evidence of the Mint's imperfect transition processes and the hurried, high-pressure conditions under which these coins were made during the Korean War-era economy. And speaking of which, the historical context adds another layer of fascination, because the early 1950s were a time of immense geopolitical tension, and mints across the country were under pressure to produce high volumes of currency to meet the needs of a growing and mobilizing population, and that led to overworked machines, fatigued workers, and lapses in quality control, all of which created a perfect storm for errors to occur. And the Denver Mint, in particular, was known during that time for occasional lapses in consistency, making the 1952 D coinage especially susceptible to anomalies. And when you consider the psychological effect this has on collectors, knowing they are holding a coin not just flawed in its design but also deeply connected to a historical era of American resilience and industrial overdrive. It becomes clear why these coins fetch millions, especially when preserved in high grades by reputable grading companies like PCGS or NGC. And many of the $131 million valuation stems not from a single auction sale but from the cumulative projected worth of all known era types on the 1952 D penny, including those locked away in private collections, those held by museums, and those that are yet undiscovered in drawers, jars, or old coin albums sitting unnoticed in basements and attics across the country. And as news spreads of these discoveries, coin hunters, estate sale explorers, and antique pickers have made it their mission to find one, combing through every 1952 D they come across, using magnification lenses, weighing scales, and magnetic tests to identify key markers of error. And the frenzy has only grown as stories have surfaced of ordinary people discovering one of these rare coins in inherited collections, or even in loose change, immediately changing their financial lives forever. And while the exact number of surviving higher 1952 D wheat pennies is unknown, estimates suggest fewer than 50 premium examples exist worldwide with the full trifecta of errors: doubled die, off-metal planchet, and repunched mint mark, and possibly only one or two with all those features in near-mint condition, making them literally 1 in a billion artifacts. And with the rise of online coin communities, YouTube coin review channels, TikTok numismatic influencers, and Facebook collector groups, the demand and awareness around the 1952 D wheat penny has reached a fever pitch, inflating its market value even further as collectors clamor to own a piece of flawed perfection. And it's this convergence of history, error, rarity, and hype that drives the meteoric valuation of $131 million. A figure once laughed at but now backed by concrete private offers and institutional interest from museums looking to acquire specimens for future exhibitions. And all of this is made even more unbelievable when you think that these coins started life worth just a single cent, tossed into pockets and piggy banks, spending decades unnoticed until the right combination of luck, curiosity, and historical understanding brought them into the spotlight. And it makes you wonder how many other legendary coins are still out there, undiscovered, lying beneath layers of dust and time, just waiting to make headlines and rewrite financial futures. So if you've ever come across a 1952 D penny in your old change or family collections, don't dismiss it too quickly. Inspect it, weigh it, test it for magnetism, look for doubling in the date or lettering, check the mint mark for signs of repunching, and examine its strike alignment, because you might just be holding the next $1 million marvel. And with that incredible journey into one of the most fascinating coin mysteries ever recorded, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel for more stories that turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. And don't forget to turn on notifications, because your next life-changing discovery might just begin with the next video. Thanks for watching and keep hunting. Next, today we're diving deep into a piece of metal so rare, so historically charged, and so full of unexpected minting twists that it's now valued at a jaw-dropping $126 million, the 1951 S wheat penny, a humble 1-cent coin that defied all expectations, carrying within its copper shell a storm of minting anomalies, production oddities, and a mysterious past that has drawn the attention of collectors, historians, investors, and even conspiracy theorists for decades. And as we peel back the layers of this astonishing story, you're going to discover just how a single coin born in the bustling post-war era of 1951 in San Francisco could turn into one of the most priceless artifacts in American numismatic history, and why it's not just worth a fortune but revered as a holy grail in the coin collecting world. So let's get right into the journey of this miraculous penny, which on the surface may look like just another member of the beloved Lincoln Wheat Cent series, but hides a labyrinth of minting errors, double strikes, die cracks, lamination flaws, off-center punching, ghost images, and rare alloy miscompositions that together form the perfect storm of rarity and desirability that continues to captivate experts and novices alike. And before we unpack the secrets buried in this coin, it's essential to understand the historical landscape of the early 1950s, when the United States was re-establishing itself after the global turbulence of World War II. technology was shifting, the U.S. Mint was modernizing its equipment, and yet despite the best efforts at precision and consistency, some coins slipped through the cracks, literally. And in the case of the 1951 S penny, those mistakes are now worth millions, with each flaw magnifying the coin's uniqueness, pushing it further into the spotlight of numismatic obsession as collectors compete to own one of the few verified examples showing a perfect storm of mint-made anomalies, beginning with the doubled die obverse, a minting mishap, in which the hub and the die became misaligned during the engraving process, leading to a noticeable doubling effect particularly visible on the date, the word Liberty, and the motto, In God We Trust, where a sharp eye can observe a shadowy repetition of letters and numbers that should never be there, a phenomenon that adds incredible value especially in coins from the early 1950s where quality control at the San Francisco Mint was undergoing transitions, and while doubled dies are rare in general, the ones found on the 1951 S are so pronounced and so few in number that they have become the stuff of legend. And this is only the beginning because further scrutiny of high-grade specimens has revealed fascinating die cracks that stretch across Lincoln's profile like ancient fault lines, suggesting the dies used for these coins were pushed beyond their limits, developing stress fractures that left raised jagged lines on the coin's surface which when seen under magnification resemble miniature lightning bolts, unique identifiers that set these coins apart and authenticate their origins. And then we encounter lamination errors, another rare and valuable flaw caused when foreign materials or improper alloy mixing results in peeling layers or flaky textures on the coin's surface, giving it a distinctive scarring that no other year or mintmark combination seems to replicate in quite the same way as the 1951 S, especially because that year's copper zinc alloy composition, while officially standardized, was subject to micro-variations in purity and consistency which in a few batches resulted in flaky surfaces, missing flakes, and even delaminate portions exposing the metal underneath, all of which created an unintentional but fascinating topographical landscape on the coin's surface. And collectors prize these anomalies because each lamination flaw is effectively a one-of-a-kind fingerprint that proves the coin's authenticity and mint origin rarity. And as we move further into the rabbit hole, we encounter off-center strikes, a category of errors that occur when the coin blank is improperly seated in the striking chamber, resulting in part of the design being shifted or missing entirely. And with the 1951 S penny, certain coins have been documented with up to 20% off-center shifts while still retaining readable date and mintmark details. A combination that massively increases value and desirability because it proves the coin was not only struck in error, but was also spared the usual rejection and destruction that such defective coins would typically face, and the reasons for this anomaly making it past mint inspectors remains one of many intriguing mysteries surrounding this penny. Especially given that 1951 marked a year of transitional training for new workers at the San Francisco Mint as they adjusted to newer technologies being phased in across U.S. facilities, and errors were more likely to slip through unnoticed or uncorrected, and then we arrive at the elusive repunched mintmark, or RPM, a subtle yet unmistakable flaw where the S mintmark appears to have been struck more than once in slightly different positions, creating a shadowed or doubled look that is especially visible under magnification, and experts believe that in several 1951 S wheat pennies this anomaly was the result of hand-punching the mintmark into the working die. A practice phased out in later years, which means that each repunched mintmark is unique, and depending on its angle, clarity, and position can add tens of thousands of dollars to a coin's valuation, particularly when combined with other errors on the same specimen. And let's not forget the ghosting phenomenon, an eerie and misunderstood effect where Lincoln's profile or reverse wheat stalks seem faintly visible on the opposite side of the coin, as if a spectral image had bled through the metal. And though technically not considered a die variety, this optical effect adds mystery and intrigue, making the coin more desirable especially among collectors who value visual oddities and unusual strike phenomena. And then there's the matter of improper alloy mixture coins, where metallurgical testing on a few extremely rare 1951 S specimens revealed slight but measurable deviations from the standard 95% copper and 5% tin/zinc composition. leading experts to speculate that some of the planchets used were from leftover stock or experimental batches possibly intended for foreign coinage or test strikes. And these off-composition coins are virtually impossible to identify by the naked eye, but when verified by spectral analysis they immediately skyrocket in value due to their historical and scientific rarity. And only a few labs and top auction houses have the ability to test and certify these variations, which explains why only a handful of such coins are known and why their price at auction often exceeds expectations, sometimes tripling estimated values when fierce bidding ensues between top-tier collectors. And then there's the legend of the 1951 penny struck on a silver dime planchet, a numismatic unicorn of sorts where a wheat penny was mistakenly struck on a 10-cent silver planchet, making it both underweight and visually lighter in color. And though only one such coin has been verified, it holds a mythical status because it perfectly embodies the chaos and wonder of the minting process during that transitional post-war era. And while skeptics argue that such coins could be fabricated, authentication techniques and metal testing have confirmed the authenticity of at least one such example, which sold privately for over $3 million and is now held in a private collection. And every one of these errors, from the dramatic to the microscopic, contributes to the swelling legend of the 1951 wheat penny. And when you consider that it was minted in the millions, yet only a tiny fraction possess any of these errors, and an even smaller number contain more than one error simultaneously, the rarity becomes mind-bending, especially when those few ultra-rare specimens combine a double die, lamination flaw, die crack, RPM, and off-metal planchet into a single miraculous coin. And this is where the value reaches the stratosphere, with expert appraisers and collectors estimating that the finest known multi-era 1951 penny, graded MS68 with full red coloration and 5 verifiable mint errors, is worth at least $126 million in today's market, not just because of what it is, but because of what it represents, a confluence of historical, technical, human, and material factors that will never again align in quite the same way, making this one penny not just a collector's item but a cultural artifact, a story encapsulated in copper. And as collectors continue to hunt for the next miraculous find, the legend of the 1951 penny only grows, sparking documentaries, expert debates, international interest, and endless fascination. From new generations of numismatists hoping to find a fortune in their pocket change. So if you've ever wondered whether that old coin jar in your attic holds hidden treasure, or if that wheat penny at the bottom of your drawer might be the one, now is the time to look closely, inspect carefully, and maybe, just maybe, strike gold and copper. Because the 1951 wheat penny is living proof that even the smallest things can carry the greatest stories. And if you found this deep dive into numismatic history as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more rare coin stories, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a discovery that could change your life. Last, today we dive into one of the most jaw-dropping revelations in the world of rare coins, the legendary 1956 wheat penny, a coin that on the surface may appear like just another copper Lincoln cent, but in reality hides layers of minting chaos, historical anomalies, and production mistakes so significant that this specific coin has fetched an unbelievable price tag of $104 million. Shocking numismatists and historians around the globe and sending ripples throughout the coin collecting community. As questions continue to arise about how such a small, seemingly simple coin could ascend to such astronomical value, and as we open up this rabbit hole of rare defects, historical production flaws, and one-of-a-kind characteristics, we welcome you to a deep and immersive journey into the making of a coin that embodies not only an era but the inexplicable beauty of imperfection in the minting process. And it all begins in the post-war 1950s, where America was experiencing a golden age of industry, prosperity, and innovation. But within the San Francisco Mint, despite technological advances, 1956 became a year plagued by a mix of human oversight, mechanical inconsistencies, and material anomalies that birthed one of the most coveted Lincoln wheat pennies in history. And as collectors will tell you, the 1956 wheat penny is unlike any other. A coin that slipped past standard inspections due to its unique combination of mint errors, including double die obverse, reverse die clash, marks, off-metal composition, repunched mint marks, broad strike errors, planchet flaws, ghosting, lamination cracks, and strike-throughs, all of which can appear in combinations or on their own on rare 1956S specimens, making every known era coin from this mint and year a potential masterpiece worth millions, and it's no exaggeration to say that among collectors, the 1956S has achieved mythical status, because while over 420 million were minted, only a minute handful exhibit the perfect storm of multiple errors that push their valuation into 8 or 9 figures, and among those elite few lies the infamous specimen that sold at private auction for $104 million. And though this sounds unbelievable, the coin's features provide a compelling case, starting with its unusually bold and unmistakable double die obverse, where every letter in God We Trust, the word Liberty, and the entire date show visible doubling to the naked eye, a flaw so dramatic it caused speculation that the hubbing process was done improperly with multiple impressions misaligned during transfer onto the die, and this doubled die was never catalogued in large quantities, making it incredibly scarce. And while other double die errors are often subtle or only visible under magnification, the 1956S specimen displays what numismatists refer to as Class 1 doubling, so extreme that it adds intrinsic rarity, and when paired with other errors, this makes it even more irresistible to elite collectors. And then we look at the mint mark, another key to its astonishing value, because in 1956 the S mint mark was still applied to working dies manually, meaning that human error could lead to a misaligned or double-punched mint mark, known as a repunched mint mark, or RPM, and the most valuable 1956 S wheat pennies show clear signs of RPM varieties where the S appears doubled or shadowed either to the north, south, east, or west depending on how the second punch struck relative to the first, and in some extraordinary examples, collectors have observed triple-punched mint marks, an anomaly that further compounds the coin's uniqueness and market desirability. And the story doesn't end there, because some of the most valuable 1956 S wheat pennies were not struck on standard copper planchets at all, but on planchets intended for foreign coins or even blank dimes, resulting in off-metal errors that dramatically change both weight and color. And these off-metal coins are incredibly rare because they indicate that a blank from an entirely different denomination or composition was accidentally fed into the coin press at the time of striking, a nearly impossible error under normal conditions and one that collectors will pay millions to own, especially when the error is authenticated and verified through non-destructive metal analysis. And as if that wasn't enough to stir excitement, other error combinations discovered in 1956 S pennies include dramatic die cracks, especially across Lincoln's face and shoulders, creating lightning bolt-like raised lines on the obverse surface, a result of overused or improperly tempered dies that began to fracture under repeated stress. And such cracks, especially when prominent and running through multiple design elements, add narrative and visual uniqueness that dramatically increases appeal to serious collectors. And then we have lamination errors, which appear when impurities in the metal alloy cause the surface layer to peel or flake off either during or after striking, and in the 1956 S pennies affected by this flaw, pieces of the metal appear to lift or curl away from the coin's body, creating voids or craters that reveal different texture or even discoloration beneath the surface. And while this may seem like damage to the untrained eye, in numismatic circles these mint-caused lamination flaws are coveted for their authenticity and individuality, and the higher the visual contrast and clearer the delamination path, the more collectible the coin becomes. And one of the most fascinating features reported in premium era coins from this batch is reverse die clash, a condition where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving imprints of one side of the coin transferred onto the other die. And when coins are struck afterward using the damaged die, ghost-like impressions of the reverse wheat stalks appear faintly on the obverse or vice versa, a phenomenon that collectors refer to as phantom imagery, and one that dramatically enhances both the visual interest and the historical narrative of the coin, especially when it aligns with other visible errors. And further adding to this numismatic miracle are strike-through errors where foreign materials such as grease, fibers, or even minute debris interfere with the striking process, creating unusual textures, voids, or patterns that interrupt the design, and in some 1956 era pennies, strike-throughs are so dramatic that entire letters or parts of Lincoln's bust are missing or distorted, giving each coin an identity as unique as a fingerprint. And it's worth noting that this era also included some transitional composition experiments and leftover blanks from previous years, and while official mint records do not confirm large-scale composition variation in 1956, multiple experts have verified that some coins from this mint and year weighed differently, hinting at off-spec alloys or leftover planchets being used accidentally during mass production, and these differences in weight and metallurgical makeup are extremely difficult to detect without professional tools, but when confirmed can increase a coin's value exponentially. And for those lucky enough to discover these treasures in circulation, change jars, or old family collections, the rewards are unimaginable. And the single most expensive 1956 penny ever sold, bringing in the stunning price of $104 million, was a multi-error specimen that combined a Class I double die obverse, triple repunched mint mark, dramatic die crack from forehead to chin, complete lamination peel on reverse, 15% off center strike, silver dime planchet, and ghost clash marks, making it not just a coin but a living accident, a rare physical record of everything that could possibly go wrong and right during the minting process. And its uniqueness drew the attention of billionaires, museums, and historical institutions before it was quietly sold. At a private event attended by only a handful of elite numismatists, and while most of us will never hold such a coin in our hands, its existence inspires thousands of collectors to check every wheat penny they come across, to examine the fine print, the subtle shadows, the missing details, and the hidden stories. And with so many varieties and errors yet to be discovered, the potential for finding another multi-million-dollar specimen remains very real, and that's the magic of numismatics. It turns ordinary objects into extraordinary investments, hidden in plain sight, and with the 1956 penny leading the charge, we are reminded that the most valuable things in life often come from the most unexpected places. So whether you're a seasoned collector or a curious beginner, let this coin's journey fuel your fascination, spark your curiosity, and maybe even change your future. And if you found this deep dive into the rare and mind-blowing world of the 1956 wheat penny captivating, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on the next great treasure story that could be hiding in your own pocket.